Once I have reviewed my open purchase orders, sales orders, and invoices, it's time to actually condense my data. Now QuickBooks is starting to use the term clean up your data in lieu of condense. What I'm finding is certain versions will call it cleanup and certain are calling it condense. Please note that when we condense our data, we are cleaning up our file. No matter which instance is used, we will be able to go to File, Utilities, and down to either Condense or Cleanup. Now prior to this cleanup, I recommend that you verify your data and rebuild. This will make sure that there is no corrupted file that'll stop the process. Same thing with rebuild. It'll clean up any of the data in the background to ensure that you're okay. Once we have created our backups, perhaps even created a copy of our file, we are now ready to clean it up to condense the size of the file. You will notice that the first thing it tells us is that our budget data may be affected. Please be prepared to re-enter this budget data. Now the budget data is going to be affected for pretty much each solution that you use, so keep a good copy of that separate. We're going to say yes, we do want to continue. Now here you'll notice that we can remove our transactions as of a specific date, or we can remove all our transactions. The idea behind choosing a specific date is to go far enough into history so that we're not needing to get into the actual transaction detail. Depending on how large your file is and how fast it grows, depends on how frequently that you have to run this procedure. I usually like to have at least 2 to 3 years history if I can. If not, I'll go for 2 years. Some instances, of course, you have to go less. Let's say that we want to remove our transactions before 12/31. We'll go to our next screen. We are now able to select certain criteria for what we'll remove. You'll notice that we can remove transactions that are marked to be printed. This is handy if you've emailed a client an invoice but haven't removed the check mark from to be printed. If you don't select this, it will not remove any of those transactions. You'll notice the same case is for invoices and estimates that are marked to be sent. Review your files and look at the different invoices that will be affected prior to choosing these criteria. You'll notice that it'll also remove uncleared or unreconciled bank and credit card transactions. Now again, be very careful with this. It is my recommendation that you take some time to come up with a true bank balance before actually running this cleanup. However, if you are inheriting an old set of books or it's just never been done, it may be easier to clear it, start fresh, and keep up with your reconciliation from this point forward. I'm always very hesitant about any set of books where the bank reconciliation has not been completed. That's one of the #1 checks and balances to ensure that your books are in order. After we go through and select each of the criteria, the next screen is going to allow us to select unused items. Would you like to remove your accounts, customers, vendors? You can choose only the ones that you want to. So if I'd like to keep all my customers for the purpose of marketing, I'll keep them in there. Again, I'll hit Next. You'll notice that I've finished the wizard and I'm now ready to begin the cleanup. As always, keep in mind that this could be a long-running task. You'll notice that it tells you that depending on the size of your data file, it can take several minutes or several hours. Be prepared. Very often I recommend that you run this at night before you go home. One of the downsides of working with the data is that if you have not properly cleared up all of your items, the condensing will not do much. You'll finish cleaning up the files, you'll come back in and find that hardly anything has been affected. That's because there's open transactions. Looking at the open transactions is the most important part of cleaning up your history.